Communication Sports Update right here on HutchPost.com. High school, college, pro, we keep you in the know. As always, joining me is Glen Grunwald. I am Daren Dunn. Today we talk a little bit about the NBA, the Big Three, and some Jayhawks in the NBA. Your Kansas City Royals. We'll sit down with General Manager of the Hutchinson Monarchs, Marc Blackim. We'll talk to HCC head football coach Rion Rhoades. And of course, Glen will sit down with Hutch High new recruit and head football coach Ryan Cornelsen. But first, we talk about those Hutchinson Monarchs. The Monarchs had some must-win games last week. They fall a little bit short, Glen, and they end up on the short end of the stick, if you will, one game behind Park City for the North, but they find some new life. We'll take you back right now, though, to that loss versus Park City. 7-5.
Yeah, tough loss right there. And the big thing is they had to win two to win the North, and that was kind of an automatic bid to the NBC. Now they got to replan their game plan a little bit and get set to try to win it to be able to get into the NBC. So Marc Blackim, he'll talk about it. He scheduled some other games to keep them in playing throughout this next week. And then the big thing is to get through the regional and get through the qualifying tournament and be able to get to the NBC tournament, a tournament which has been in Wichita forever. They've revamped it a little bit this last year, but the likes of Satchel Paige, Billy Martin, many greats have played in that tournament. So it's an outstanding tournament, and you certainly want to see the Monarchs represented there.
Really a great place to make a name for yourself. Of course, the Monarchs, the games that Glen mentioned, they schedule a few more against the Salina Blue Jays. On Monday night, they get an 8-1 and 4-3 victory over the Blue Jays. So good to see them back up and going. On Wednesday, then, they will take on the Newton Rebels. Another chance to take on Newton, which has been a solid team, about 50-50 over the year. Really, the team to look out for if the Monarchs won't wind up against them again in the postseason are those Valley Center Diamond Dogs, 30-4 on the season.
Yeah, Diamond Dogs, 30-4 is unreal in this Walter Johnson League, the Wood Bat League. It really is. They've had a successful league. But Monarchs, they put it together last year about the same time and were able to get a little run and finish fourth in last year's tournament. So I think the biggest situation is, are these kids getting the itch to go home time before school starts to get going again, and several of them from out of town? Can they keep them regrouped and get them focused and make it to Wichita?
Last week, it was what looked to be the very last game of the season, taking place here in Hutchinson, Hobart Detter Field and Cary Park, taking on the Salina Blue Jays. It was no longer a must-win game, but with bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, Tyler Bugner walks up there and walks with the bases loaded, a walk-off win. How tough would it be? Put yourself in Tyler Bugner's shoes. How tough would it be to stand there and take that fourth ball to walk in a winning run?
Got to have a good eye. You got to have a good eye, and evidently he felt confident that the call was going to go his way, and it takes a lot, because you as a ball player, you want to be swinging. You really want to be swinging. Nobody walks up there and says, "Hey, I plan on walking in this," but it was a situation where he knew that was going to be as good and would win the ball game. So had a good eye, took the pitch, and the rest is history.
Monarchs get a victory there. They get two more victories against the Blue Jays on Monday night. We'll see what they can do on Wednesday against the Newton Rebels. And then, of course, Friday in Newton for that 10 a.m. opening pitch against the Hayesville Aviators. That, of course, a part of the Mid-Kansas Collegiate Regional. Hey, when we come back, I'm sitting down with General Manager and owner of the Hutchinson Monarchs, Marc Blackim. Keep it here. It is the Eagle Communication Sports Update on HutchPost.com. Back to the Eagle Communication Sports Update right here on HutchPost.com. High school, college, pro, we keep you in the know. I'm joined now by General Manager and Head Coach for the Hutchinson Monarchs, Marc Blackim. Marc, you guys have seen some ups and downs this season. You've been right about at 500. You dropped to 15 and 19. Of course, after last week's couple of losses and actually a walk victory, you end up scheduling 3 games. Take us through that process and your victories last night against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, we did. Unfortunately, getting beat by Park City last week took us out of the chances to win the Northern Division. So we needed to pick up a couple games this week before the tournament starts on Friday. So we picked up a doubleheader with Salina last night, where we fortunately got 2 victories, got 8-1 and 4-3. So we got 2 nice victories there, and a lot of guys got innings last night, which was good. And then we've got another game Wednesday night at Hobart Detter at 7 o'clock against the Newton Rebels in preparation for the Mid-Kansas Collegiate that starts on Friday in Newton.
Obviously a lot of hope, still a chance getting in there deep into the playoffs. What was your message, though, after last week when you miss out on winning the North by 1 game?
You know, it was still positive. We missed out on an opportunity. We gave some games away that we shouldn't have, but we still feel we have the talent and the ability to get there, just like we did last year. You know, we had to come through the tournament last year in Newton, get a victory there to get our berth to the NBC, which led us to a 4th place finish. So the opportunity's still there. We were very positive, basically telling our guys, relax. Just go play the game you love and everything will work out.
Park City, Valley Center, they head up the North versus South matchup this year. How stout has Valley Center been this season at 30-4?
Very dominant, very dominant. They are an older, more experienced, mature team than basically the rest of the teams in our league. Pat's done a nice job of filling his team with some great talent. Fortunately, I feel very comfortable against them. Every game we've played them has been a 1-run game. So I'm ready for them, but they're a very good team.
So if you get back to that situation where you have a chance to take them down again, do you change the game plan up a little bit, or do you keep it fairly the same and hope for a better outcome?
Absolutely not. We won't change a thing. We'll stay right where we are. We'll play the same game we've played all summer. Hopefully get that key hit when we need it and make the routine plays, and we'll be fine against them. Our pitching will carry us through that if we get an opportunity.
Take us back to last week. You're taking on Salina. It's a game at home. It looked to be, at that time, the final home season game. Tyler Bugner is up to bat. Did you have a message to him to tell him to try to take that walk, or is that just gutsy play by Bugner to take, with bases loaded, a walk-off, walk-win?
No, he was going to go to the plate. He was going to be aggressive. He was going to swing. He was going to try and drive in that game-winning run. As it worked out, as Tyler's done all summer, had a good eye, read his pitch as well, and it led to a walk-off win.
Your lineup going into this postseason play, you're going to keep it the same? You have to adjust it a little bit? What are your plans?
Oh, it'll basically stay the same. We'll tweak it a little bit here and there. We got a couple guys that we've got to get healthy, so we'll kind of look at that when we get there. But for the most part, the guys that are hot at the end of the season, they're going to carry us through the tournament.
Hutchinson Monarchs head into postseason play on Friday. You can catch them in Newton as they take on the Hayesville Aviators. Keep it right here. When we come back, I'll sit down with HCC football coach Ryan Rhoades. It's here on HutchPost.com and your Eagle Communications Sports Update. Welcome back to the Eagle Communications Sports Update right here on HutchPost.com. High school, college, pro, we keep you in the know. I'm joined now by HCC head football coach Ryan Rhoades. As always, I am Daren Dunn. Coach, you're getting ready for an exciting season. Some changes are happening. Talk to us about some of the players that are showing up on campus and which ones you're most excited to see.
Well, I'm excited for all of them. You know, this is kind of Christmas time for us. All the new guys coming in. We had our out-of-state players check in yesterday and our Kansas players check in today. And lots of stuff going on with that. They check into the dorms. They make sure everything's good on their classes for the summer. And moms and dads get them all situated. And then, you know, they head back home and their sons stay here. So we're excited about that process. It's good for us to meet the parents and really get everybody settled and get off to a good start. So it's a big time for us.
Is it hard for some of the parents sometimes to let go and, per se, cut that umbilical cord?
There's no doubt, you know, and I can definitely relate to that, having a daughter going off to college this year myself. So it is hard. It's hard for everybody. It's transition, but we just try to tell them that it's part of life. This is taking the next step, and it's an important one. And so we try to take all that into account, though, that it is a transition time, and we got to help them through it. And so we do our best to do that.
Are there little tricks you've learned over the years to kind of help ease not only the players but sometimes the parents into that transition?
Definitely. You know, really just helping them be informed, you know, and really making sure that they understand that we are there to kind of take over the role of the parent, you know, that we want to look after their son, you know, and we're going to help them figure life out a little bit and figure out how to be more responsible and independent, but also when they run into trouble or have challenges, you know, new things to do, that we're going to help them, you know the way and to guide them along the way. So it's a really important aspect of our job that probably a lot of people don't think of. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with X's and O's, but it's really important to help those kids and their parents just feel comfortable and be able to get off to a great start.
Looking at the X's and O's, what are some positions from last year that you have to fill that you really see some bright spots coming into this season, or maybe even some spots where you're reloading?
We're definitely, in need of some receivers on offense, and just, strictly going by the eyeball test and the recruiting video that we researched. I'm really excited about that receiving core that's coming in. Also, I think our running back group will be good, even though we have some good returning guys from spring ball. I would say that our offensive line group is going to be good. There's a big group of them, and so we're going to kind of have to sort through who's ready to go right away and who might be a redshirt candidate. From a defensive standpoint, we need some guys to emerge at corner. And much like the receiver position, there are guys that really fit the profile of what we need. Shadow Fentang type guys, that are tall and long and can run. And so we're excited about those spots. Feel like there's some good guys in that linebacker group too. So time will tell. Everybody's got to see if they can handle the regiment. It is a new level of work, and that's hard for some guys to transition into that, but it's a little bit more of a grind than they're used to.
When you look at play calling for this next season, do you see it more of a run heavy, pass heavy, or maybe a little bit of a balance once you get that receiving core set?
I think we'll have great balance, Daren. I really feel good about our run game, and that's definitely what we believe in starting with, and being able to run the football and setting up the pass game with that. So I feel very confident that we're going to be able to do that. That all starts with the O-line, and your pass game also is going to be dictated a little bit by what type of protection that you can be good at. And so we definitely want to be good at running the football, throwing quick game and play action, and then beyond that, it's going to depend a lot on what we can protect.
Hutchinson Community College head coach for football, Ryan Rhoades. Thank you for joining us today. When we come back, Glen's going to sit down with Hutch High football coach Ryan Cornelsen. Keep it right here on HutchPost.com's Eagle Communications Sports Update.
Well, welcome back to Eagle Communications Update on HutchPost.com. Joining me now is head coach Ryan Cornelsen, who is the new head man at Hutch High. Congratulations, Coach, on getting a job, and glad to have you along on this Eagles Communication Update for this week. And you're about ready to get started. Of course, most folks know you came from the Hayes area, very successful job there. When Randy Dreiling moved on to Kansas City, of course, you had connections with Eric Armstrong before, and I'm sure that this was a job that kind of jumped in your head. Did you have to think about it for any time or not?
I did. Anytime you leave a job, it's tough, and the kids at Hayes, they meant a lot to me, and it was a program I was proud of, and it was very special to me, near to my heart. So it wasn't as easy as it might have seemed, but anytime you leave, it's a tough decision. But when we looked at both places and what was good for our family, and we decided to take the position and have been excited about it ever since.
Well, folks are excited to have you here. Now, a little bit different situation than a rebuilding job. You did a great job at Hayes getting it back up to the mark of a high water mark, so to speak, and had success out there. This job has been very successful, Coach Dreiling. And, of course, it's a situation where if it ain't broke, don't fix it type of situation?
It really is. And as a coach, I try not to spend much time on worrying about what the job was before I took it, whether it was successful or unsuccessful. I'm confident in the system that we run and the things and the way we do things. So, we've just tried to change over a few things to kind of our style of what we're going to do on offense and defense. But, we want to make sure we, embrace the traditions that made them successful and the work ethic and all the things that go in part with their success in the past and carry those things on and then just try to make a few, adjustments here and there. And the kids have responded well to it, and I think it's went well so far.
Kids have responded well. I've talked to a few of the kids. They're really excited to have you on board, so I think it's going to be a nice transition. And like you mentioned, I think most folks out there are saying, hey, what kind of offense you're going to run, Coach?
Yeah, we're going to run, we'll base out of the offset I. It's very similar to what they've done in the past. It's just out of a different formation. They motion to that formation, and we're just kind of lining up in it. So it's similar to what they've seen. We'll try to be more balanced probably than what they've been in the past with the run and pass, and we'll change up formations quite a bit more than they did. But it's very similar outside, inside veer type stuff that they've done before. So the kids are familiar with those things, and we've ran some gun in camp, and we've thrown the ball some, and we'll have a little bit of that in, but it'll be a lot of the things that they're used to, just because that's what they're good at.
Coach mentioned his camps. He just finished 2-a-days that were last week in length, both 6:30 in the morning as well as 6:30 in the evening. How's that go?
It went really well. We've now with the new rules with Keisha, you can have a lot of time with them, and we've had probably upwards of 15 practices this summer. So we've had the chance to really install the new offense and work on the defense and make some adjustments there. And so I feel like it's been a great summer for us. Now we've got the final month here, which will be mostly conditioning and weights. So I feel like it's been very good, and it's been about what we needed to make sure we're ready going into the season to hit the ground running.
Your father, a very successful coach in many, many years down in Liberal, he actually came here and helped with the weight room in the spring because you had responsibilities for the track program at Hayes. Kind of nice to finally get everybody here under one setting.
Yeah, it is. It was, we were very fortunate that we were able to, he's retired now and was able to do that. And I felt like it kind of got our new system in place before the summer hit, and so that worked out really well. And I did have obligations and wanted to do a good job and finish up at Hayes and finish that job the right way. Like I said, it was a job that was near to my heart, and so I wanted to finish on the right note and was able to do that. And so it really worked out good. But now we've got everybody here, the staff's in place, and we've really been working hard this summer and spent a lot of hours making sure the plan is what we want going into the season.
Ryan Cornelsen, the head coach at Hutchinson High School. They'll start football action coming up in September. We're going to have Ryan on for several more times throughout this fall and give some updates of what's going on at Hutch High. Again, this is the Eagle Communications Sports Update. We'll be back with more right after this.
Welcome back into the Eagle Communications Sports Update right here on HutchPost.com. High school, college, pro. We keep you in the know. As always, Glen Grunwald, I am Daren Dunn. We now look to the NBA. Lots of movement with the big three. Of course, LeBron James going back home to Ohio. He's going to be the Cleveland Cavalier once again. He joins Wiggins and Kyrie Irving. A lot of people wondering, Glenn, are these guys the new big three?
Could be interesting. I was surprised. I really was. I thought Arizona had the biggest cap and they would have a good run at him. A lot of folks said, hey, maybe Dallas. A lot of people thought Miami. I thought maybe Zigo would take him to New York with Carmelo. Not the case. He returned back home and they opened him up with open arms and he's back there. Now the question would be, will Wiggins stay there? Will they keep Wiggins there? I don't feel Wiggins is ready for the NBA, so I think it could be some great development years under LeBron, and what more of a mentor could you have in LeBron? So the King goes back to Ohio, and then Wiggins is going to stay set for now. We'll see if there's any movement in the future.
Yeah, you definitely have to see what kind of pieces are they going to build around these guys. They were kind of talking to Kevin Love, seeing if he would come over, but no deal in place there yet. The Heat, though, making some moves. They re-up with Mario Chalmers. Chalmers signs a 2-year contract. He's going to make about $4 million next year. They bring with him Danny Granger and also Josh McRoberts. So the Heat making not only those moves, but bringing back Chris Bosh. And Bosh, whoa. Talk about a lot of money. 5-year deal, $118 million because of all this cap space.
Yeah, they got a lot of cap space so they can spend some money, and they did there. Also, Gasol moving from L.A. up to Chicago. Chicago kind of courted Carmelo, didn't get him. They went with the big man from L.A.
Dwayne Wade could re-sign soon. We'll have to see what he does when they put back together the pieces of the big three. But also with the Heat now, Luol Deng has signed an agreement. So look for some interesting things in the future. Some other Jayhawks in the NBA news. Of course, Paul Pierce moving on. He now has a 2-year contract with the Wizards. Glenn, I'm glad I did not get my Brooklyn Nets Paul Pierce player tee the other day.
You and several other people.
I did get my Celtics. I'm a big throwback guy. I've always been a big fan of Mr. Paul Pierce on that end of things. So I've got the Celtics jersey, the green and white. Of course, that goes along with some high school ventures as well with Central Christian. Other Jayhawk news, Hutchinson High football star, now at KU, big-time linebacker Ben Heaney. He is on the Chuck Baderick watch list.
Yeah, he's on the watch list. He's been on watch lists in other years as well, and this year he's on the Baderick watch list. He's a senior. Ben Heaney, really the only team that came after him was KU when he was in high school here at Hutch High, but he had a stellar senior season, and he's really showed his own. He's got some speed that normally you don't think that he has. He's got some quickness and speed, had a great game. If he can stay healthy, he might be able to do some things for the Jayhawks. We'll see.
He misses 2 games last year, but still winds up with 87 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 2 sacks. The other big thing will be, can the Jayhawks as a team garner more victories, because if they can win more, then he'd be bigger on this watch list. If they win 3 games once again, he's probably out of the equation completely.
Well, your team has to win as well. That helps you get on that, because it's all about publicity. And here in the Midwest, we many times don't get the coverage that some of the East Coast teams and the West Coast teams get. So we'll see what happens. Also, Charlie Weiss probably going to start to get a little alumni pressure. You're one of those guys. Going to put a little pressure on him to say, hey, you got to win more than 3, maybe 4 games a year. He's got to make a statement this year, I believe.
I'm honestly surprised they've given him more time than Turner Gill, but of course, when you talk about owing multiple coaches, multiple monies, you got to be careful with what you do next. We move now to the Kansas City Royals. They're looking to make it big and have a good week heading into the All-Star break, but we see them drop to 2-4 over the last week. A lot of that came at the hands of the Detroit Tigers, although the KWBW trip, you guys had a chance to go to Kansas City and see a nice little victory.
Yeah, we took a bus trip up. KWBW listeners went along with us. We had a great group that went up. 40 of us took in that game as they saw the Royals rally in the 7th inning and win it 5-3. So they did not get swept. However, Detroit, what a ball team they are. It was fun to watch Verlander, and he got that 7th inning, got in a little trouble, and then was able to did not get over the hump. And they were able to get the big hits, the ground rule double that knocked in a couple runs and made a big difference right there. But you know that they want 1-3 against Detroit. The team they need to watch, Daren, is Seattle. Yeah, you got to, if you're in your division, you want to make hay while the sun shines, but they didn't. And Detroit's a great team. Now you just got to make sure and keep your eye on Detroit. They just need to go out and come out of the All-Star game, get a little healthy, and just start to keep putting those wins together. They're going to have to go 42-39 in the second half to hit that 90 mark. A lot of folks think that 90 is the magic number that they need to advance into the playoffs. We'll see.
48-46 at this point. Of course, they dipped closer to right at 500 with that 2-4 week last week. Although in that 5-2 victory that Glen was able to see with the KWBW bus, Escobar and Dyson both go 2 for 4. They both get a ribby, and of course, Escobar gets 1 run. Now Holland, another save. He gets his 25th save of the season, his ERA at 1.82. And you'll get an opportunity to see him, Glen, in Minnesota, Target Field, part of that All-Star game, along with a couple other guys with Salvador Perez, and Alex Gordon making his second All-Star game appearance.
Yeah, Gordon probably won't play because of the sprained ankle. Perez will get the start as well. Holland came in, was impressive, like you said, and Ventura came in relief and got that 8th inning up and down, 3 up, 3 down for Detroit in that big win. So a nice break into the All-Star game, got momentum carrying you over. Guys get to see their families for a few days and heal some injuries and try to get back in it afterwards.
One of the low points, of course, against the Tigers last week was that 16-4 devastating loss when the Tigers put up 19 runs. For Glen Grunwald, I am Daren Dunn. We'll see you next time on HutchPost.com and your Eagle Communications Sports Update.